Irashaimase, welcome to another Ohayou anime. It's late morning here, and it's been a while. So for those of you that have never seen this show before, it's another show that we do besides a regular popcast on the rocks. Probably put this one in podcast form as well, so you can kind of get a taste of what this is like. Hopefully, you'll be back with more of these. But it's an anime and manga, Japanese culture, more focused sort of show, and we'll do news and reviews and such stuff like that about yeah, anime and such. So today we just have a few news stories, not too many. We're gonna go through a poll that Crunchyroll likes to do these polls. Those are kind of fun. Hopefully they work out for us. I'll make sure to describe it well for you. And then we're gonna talk about a manga. I will do that in a non-spoilery fashion, kind of a recommendation. And then later, we'll potentially have some spoilers for Chainsaw Man. The latest episode just dropped on Tuesday, so a couple days ago. Hopefully, you've had a chance to watch it. Yeah, but let's get into our first news story. So, Berserk. This is Nichiban.com, and it's part of the Niche Gamer Network or whatever. They are calling out that Berserk from 1997 is now on Netflix. So, have you watched Berserk? Have you read Berserk? I've always put it off. Though it seems like something that is really influential to a lot of people. It looks really cool for sure, but I've heard so many people complain about the anime adaptations that I've never tried it. And back when this was coming out and there was more of them, I wasn't reading much for manga. So now I really want to read the manga, pick up those cool collected volumes. But I'm tempted here by kind of putting this original onto Netflix. I don't know. Maybe it's just people that are really passionate about the manga saying, "Oh, well, the manga's better. Don't worry, they do all these things wrong in the anime," because that's common too. So maybe that's the deal. But if you've watched Berserk, let me know. Is it worth reading? Is it worth watching? Both, neither, whatever. It is available now on Netflix. Next story. So we're going to be talking quite a bit about Chainsaw Man on this podcast, and Crunchyroll News has this story about the composer for the music of the show, kind of putting together a playlist that goes on Spotify. So talking about his inspiration, different kinds of musicians that he drew from for the show. So FX Twin, definitely one I've heard of, but a lot of these other groups I don't know anything about. So if you have a Spotify account, it's called Composer Spotlight Kensuke Ushio, and you should go and take a look at that. I certainly plan to have a listen because the music of Chainsaw Man has been really good. I mean, kind of from top to bottom when it comes to the intro, which is fun, and we've heard now about how many movie references are involved in that opening, which is fun. The end credit scene, which is everyone is different, that's a lot of fun. I think this previous week's episode 7, that was a good time, but it's a good variety, so that's been another awesome part to this show. Let's see, before we get then to that's it for news. There's not a lot. I mean, there are some different announcements for shows coming or whatever, but we're kind of, to me, it feels like we're in the midst of the season, the winter here. We got a lot of stuff going on. We're in the middle of shows, so I can't keep up myself. So make sure y'all let me know what you're watching, and but I'm gonna let you know what I'm watching. So I've kind of gotten back into My Hero Academia, It's a very popular one. I'm sure you've heard of it, of course. New season is coming, and I'm far behind. I think I'm in season 3, so I have a friend that's really powering through it, and I want to try to do my best to catch up here. It's I usually keep an anime that kind of can be a continual, always watching it sort of thing, even if it's at a slower pace. And My Hero has been one of those shows for me. Um, Spy Family. I thought about talking more in depth about Spy Family today, but I am 3 episodes behind what's currently premiered, and I think I might just wait for a season finale on it to really get into that one. But still enjoying that. I feel like some of the commotion around Spy Family has died down a little bit. I don't know if you feel that the same way. There's certainly a lot of promotion around it still in terms of new figures coming out and that sort of thing. But um, maybe Chainsaw Man's taken some of the air out of the room. So, as for something I'm reading currently, um, anyone that's followed me before will know that I'm a big fan of Sutomo Nihei, and this is Abara, and I have a hardcover version here. It's a nice book. It's um, really in. It's very like his work of the past. If you're watching, I'll show just a little bit of it. Um, Not too much. I don't want to give any sort of spoilers, but it's it's very dark. It There's a whole series of, I don't know, his works all feel to me, I don't know if it's official or not. All his works feel to me like they're connected. They're in different places or times of the same world. My first introduction was to Blam. It's still my favorite of his. I absolutely love it. He deals so much with like architecture and scale. I'm playing the Warhammer 40K Dark Tide game, and there's a lot of cool scale in there as well. But like, here's an instance. Like, just we get sweeping, wide shots of the kind of crazy architecture and world that we're in. It's all very dystopian. It's fun kind of putting together the pieces of, again, how this maybe fits in the overall timeline with everything. And yeah, I'm really liking it. I'm almost basically exactly halfway through. So Abada, I'm reading that. Hopefully, I'll come to you with a full review soon. Um, and the other thing I've been consuming, back to one more anime, is Chainsaw Man. As I mentioned, we're gonna review it, so obviously I've been watching it. Um, on the topic of Chainsaw Man, though, we have I guess for me, I think of it as Chainsaw because I have a couple ideas where this is gonna go. Okay, so who is your anime crush of 2022? Oh man. Okay, so again, Crunchyroll does these fun polls. So I like to do them on the show sometimes and see what we get. I'll try to be extra descriptive for those that are listening, and hopefully there's going to be definitely some characters that I'm unaware of. As I said, I'm behind on stuff for sure. So, all right, let's start it. So, oh, this is this is not a wow. Okay, could have looked at this beforehand. This is just an answer. So we collect the answers in about a week and share the results soon after that. Okay. All right. Well, everybody's going to leave in the comments. Let me know what your answer would be for this. You should also, if you get there in time, go to Crunchyroll, go to their news section and look for the Who is Your 2022 Anime Crush poll. Participate in that and see who you think. I like some of these suggestions here. Tengen from Demon Slayer. He's a very cool dude. Clearly, he's got to be the choice of some. He's got 3 wives, you know. But I'm definitely going with Makima from Chainsaw. And there's another answer I want. Maybe I should throw one out too. I don't know. I went first. My first instinct was Makima, so that's what I'm gonna put. Makima from Chainsaw Man. So, check back soon for the results. So, there, promotion for the Crunchyroll poll. All right. Now we're gonna get to reviews. So, I have one thing that I have talked about before, that is that I don't think I've talked about the latest volume. So again, I swear I read manga that's not just like dark and brutalist and stuff. And this one I guess is it's a little unfair to just like call it that, but Dyed Dark. So I've talked about this before. It's the same author as Dorohedoro, and definitely shows. I've been reading through all these. I finished a while ago, but again, I haven't talked about the latest volume, volume 4, I don't think. So this series, I won't spoil things. It's a review up to this point, up through 4. It's complaints. I'll start with some complaints. One, I feel like maybe the art is getting, maybe it's in parts getting a little rushed as we move on. I feel like the art quality early on maybe was a little more clear, and by the time we get to 4, yeah, it's a minor gripe. It's kind of just a concern. Like I see this, I've seen this with the from the author of Abara here that I talked about earlier. Another series of his I was reading was like ended abruptly, and I felt like the art was getting way too simplistic. So just hope that doesn't happen here. And there's just a couple moments or whatever that some things stood out. This series has been really good so far, though I sometimes, I don't know, and this is an overall issue as well. I don't know why they can't have more things in thought bubbles for characters. Like so often we have something that's, you wouldn't say this aloud. I understand it's designed to let us in on what someone is thinking or to explain something, but can't we have that in a thought bubble then, as opposed to them speaking it out loud when they wouldn't? And in a world like this that's so unique and out there, you're gonna have to explain some things. You're gonna want but you can leave some stuff to mystery too. So that's maybe my biggest complaint so far. And I usually kind of look past it and just, I imagine it's a thought bubble as opposed to actually speaking it. But then when something gets made into an anime and then they, take as was written and have the characters speak those lines that should go unspoken, it's much harder to ignore. And it's one of my pet peeves right now in the industry, which is sad because I think, maybe it comes from a lot of like manga is done by one person. Here's story and art by Q Hayashida. Well, that's one person, and so normally you would have maybe, if you write a novel, you write it and then you have an editor. or if you're doing a movie, you have someone that's writing the general story, and then it gets turned into a script, and that gets gone over a couple times, that sort of thing. So you have someone be like, this dialogue, I understand you want to move the story forward here. You want to let the audiences know, but that's sort of the trick. One of the tricks to writing is to figure out how to provide exposition, how to do things um, naturally. And to me, that's one of the bigger downfalls of this story so far of Die Dark. Otherwise, back to positives. It's a really quality book if you buy it physically. It's a kind of smaller size. I like this size, and it's just they're heavy. So I think I mentioned that before, but it's that's really nice. I also like the bonus little thing that at the end there's a crossword puzzle. So I've reread some of these, and you can kind of go and it's sort of asking you things about the world and about the the story so far, and I like it a lot. I think that's just a little fun addition, and it kind of, you know, it encourages the idea that like you couldn't do this in a Western comic because they're collector's items. Like I have one here. I'm in Glorious Rex, and it's sitting here. It's in its with this bag and board, and it's signed, and it's a collector's thing, so you'd never write in it. But I kind of like how this is, you have it fits in your hand, and you're being encouraged to really read it and reread it, and then participate by writing in it with a crossword puzzle. So it's kind of fun. Um, Otherwise, this creator and this story really exemplifies why manga is so um, valuable and so well, it's why it's growing these days. Because you look at what I'd call the legacy Western comic book industry, and for years, all they could see was superheroes, and that's what a lot of what sold. So that's fine, whatever. But a lot of times they didn't diversify, and then DC did with finally with like Vertigo, and you started getting award-winning content that was different. Um, People often think, well, you read comic books. Well, you don't. In this day and age, you don't have to stop reading comic books, but then sometimes the comic books need to grow with an audience. Um, so manga offers a real variety, and this is completely unique. I don't know what the influences would be considered for this, but it's we're throwing out sometime in the future, somewhere in space, and it allows for just zany, wacky characters and ideas. They don't shy away from having things that would make no sense to us, things that seem completely ludicrous, and it all works together to create something that's like funny and heartwarming, but in a real black humor sense of way, a real dark sort of um, everything is skulls and bones and rotting flesh and whatever, and yet it manages to hold a lightheartedness too, and I think that's really unique. So you look in any other comic industry, even like webtoons and stuff, and I think it's harder to find something with this that's something this crazily unique that's done so well. Um, and it's with all the craziness, there's still depth. I found that with Dodo Hey Dodo too. You start off like this is completely insane, and then find out a little more about the characters, and start seeing the heart involved. And so yeah, that's Die Dark. It's volumes 1 through 4, um, by Seven Seas Entertainment, who makes it. It's high quality story and art by Q Haishida, and I encourage you to check it out. It's an easy one to catch up on, and to to be there as it's releasing. It's not one of these books that's out constantly or whatever. So you can buy each 4 volumes. And then the fifth one is set to release in March. So you've got between now and March to catch up and get invested in the world of Die Dark. All right. That's that. And our last thing, we're gonna finally talk proper about Chainsaw Man. So Chainsaw Man is currently gone through 8 episodes. Um, I don't know how big this season is gonna be. Um, maybe maybe I can see here if it's find out how many there's gonna be. I guess I hadn't really considered. I just was excited. Yeah, there's just okay. So looks like 12 is what it seems like on Wikipedia. So yeah, we finished up episode 8 this last Tuesday, and I watched it last night. I had heard it was crazy, and it definitely was crazy. Let's start at the beginning a little bit. I'll probably do this kind of review. It's sort of episodes 1 through 8, and then maybe going forward, talk specifically about each episode. I thought the show started really, context, I've not read the manga. It was another one that I kind of started hearing about, and it's like, the anime is coming. Maybe I just want to wait. So I did that. And it was a one. It was hyped up a lot, got a lot of high reviews, and I watched it and I immediately liked the art. I liked the animation. I liked the emotionality here between Denji and Puchita. I thought that was great. It, though I'm not a fan of CG type animation in anime, just in general. Like I remember back in the day, Appleseed was coming out, newer one, and it's all CG, and people are acting like it's a big deal. And I'm just thinking this doesn't look good. Um, Especially when, Pixar started coming around and kind of set the bar for what CG animation could be like. Just the CG stuff loses a lot of soul to me, stands out. I don't prefer it. But anyways, the CG is more limited to like Denji when he transforms. So, um, the end battle of episode 1, it felt like a lot of chaos, and the battle didn't feel as like weighted and structured properly as I'd like from an epic battle. But nonetheless, after episode 1, I was satisfied. I was excited to see more. Again, fun opening and ending, all that sort of thing. Episode 2, I started to think, okay, has this show been overhyped a lot? Because episode 2, we kind of, we're getting into, finding a little bit of a weird relationship with Denji and Makima. We have then Aki being introduced, and Denji's just like kick him in the balls a whole bunch. I didn't feel any of the emotional elements that really brought me in on episode 1. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm obviously going to keep watching. I still like it, but it was not living up to the expectation. And I think episode 3 is when things really started to turn around for me. We're starting to, they're doing a good job from episode 3 and on of giving us backstory when needed of people. They're building up each character. So when we're getting to Power and her craziness, but then we start seeing a bit of her like softer side and her backstory. That she's also kind of a tortured soul, but she's childish and that she cares for her missing cat and the lengths she'll go to for that. Start getting to some more action sequences that I think are more impressive and better balanced. So against the big bat is a great scene. See, and yeah, and the weird kind of like how this team is coming together that's like loosely held together. And I think I like seeing how over time now their bonds have begun to grow. Um, the sad thing to me is been now in the last few episodes, getting to know better Aki and his backstory. That was done really well, and how we get a little bit of world building. Um, I guess I want to talk about that some. So the world building we get quickly and briefly by Makima is the appearance of the Gun Devil. And I watched this scene back. It's my slideshow. For those that are watching, it's like my slideshow is stopped playing here. Yeah, for some reason. Sorry about that. Um, anyways, so where was I? Oh yeah. Makima gives us a why the Gun Devil exists. I thought this was very brief and very confusing. So the idea is that devils have started to appear more in the world. And so people are scared. They're causing trouble. So it's phrased as people try to profit off of um, death, or profit off of selling firearms or something like that, because people are like arming themselves a lot because they're worried about the threat of these demons. And then it's like there's a suggestion that, I don't know, death and crime go way up or something. And because of all this gun violence, there's a massive attack in America, and the Gun Devil appears. And then, what gives these devils more power is worshiping them, basically, is it's kind of like we people do in the paranormal field now. It's like they think that if you give a spirit or a legend power by spreading its tail, by more people believing in it. We do this with the Santa Claus movies. Like, oh, we're out of Santa can't do this. The reindeer can't fly because no one believes anymore. That kind of thing. So that's how the impression I get from it is that they're trying to weaken the Gun Devil, and by putting heavy restrictions on firearms, particularly in Japan, and then censorship. So, which was an odd thing to throw out there as well. So, just how some of this stuff unfolded, and then again throwing the censorship thing on the end there. The world view is maybe just so different than mine that it's not making sense, or we're going to get more explanation, or we're not going to deal with that, and it's just like, here's the quick setup, accept it, and we're going to move on from there, because it's more about a character story now than like our world view and world setting or whatever. I don't know. That's definitely something I would like answers to. It'd be interesting to know, because it is important to me, the premise of why we're here, how this has begun, because our protagonists now are going to be setting out for, we're going to get rid of the Gun Devil. That's the point. So how that came to be, why that came to be, all kind of adds to something that is important, because sometimes if a world building element or something doesn't make sense, it's not a big deal because it's not integral to the plot of the story. It's always like when if there's a science fiction movie and the plot of why we need to leave Earth, or why we need to do this thing or whatever, if that doesn't make sense, to me that can often ruin the whole thing, because it's integral. So, anyways, it was a very quick moment. It's done very fast. I'm interested to see if we get more um, about the world and how we got here and such, or if this show is not going to go there. So that's a bit of a complaint, but otherwise, let's talk about Denji a little bit. Our main character, he's likable but simple. It's an interesting setup for a character that he's been, sort of living like an animal for so long. And so all of his like now desires are very simplistic and animalistic. It's like food and sex, shelter, like just the most basic things. Um, and what I think the show is going to be doing, interestingly, or what it looks like is going to happen, is he's getting set up for all these disappointments. So it's like, first, I really want to touch a boob. That's what I'm all about. And then it happens, and it's really disappointing. Or it's not what he thought it would be. Power wears things in her bra to make him bigger, and so it's just a disappointment. And then he gets to like the sort of, you know he gets manipulated then in the following episode by Makima, who really sort of, you know uses his infatuation with her, his simplistic self at this time, and uses her sexuality then to make him promise to do something. That's where we get the explanation of the gun devil and everything. And she gets him all excited again. And I think this is just like the setup for further disappointment, but then growth, like to understand how you could be manipulated that way. So I think, whereas Denji's had to like grow up fast in a way, and that he's had to just do whatever to survive. He's not like going to be picky on things. It's like his life has been rough. His emotional um, like range is limited in his emotional intelligence, and so I think that's going to grow fast, because then we get, oh, now he's all intrigued by getting a kiss from Himeno, and we see how that goes then too. um Great. Some people, I guess, were upset that it was like blurred out. I didn't know it was like ever not blurred out. I thought it was like stylistic choice or whatever. I guess I'm okay either way, because it would be gross either way. Um, but that was fun, and um, fun and disturbing. But so disappointment after disappointment, and it's going to be interesting to see how Denji grows and reacts, and what he learns is important. Because it's cool how Makima is at the same time manipulating him, emotionally manipulating him. She's also giving him sound advice. She's also like letting him know what is important and how things, you know, maybe should be. And he's questioning later, like, every time I kiss someone now, am I going to think of, you know, vomit? And the explanation there is really good, like how you're going to experience so many things, and you're not going to have time to remember, to think of all the things. And then she kind of gives him a new memory. So um, I like that. The pacing of the show has been really good so far. I've really liked the development of Himeno and Aki, and I love their relationship. The way that those two kind of came to be, how Himeno is like, I'm not going to lose another partner, and how she like pressures him to smoke so they can like really bond and be together, and how she's frustrated that he also has a thing for Makima, and she's like, what is his deal? What is her deal? What's everybody seeing her? Um, it just makes this last episode all the more sad. And so, this is the stuff that really anime does so well that other things fail at all the time. I think of like Marvel, that these days they fail at this constantly. They cannot, because it's not natural. Like, it's people that, themselves seem to have a small emotional range or something like that. It's like this show can go from being completely absurd and silly to being kind of scary to being really heartfelt and emotional, within a matter of beats from one to another. And the build up of Aki and Himeno's relationship has been great, and I should have seen it coming better, because we get, at the beginning of episode 8, Himeno is talking to Denji, and saying, "Hey, let's make a deal. I'm gonna help you get together with Makima, and you help me get together with Aki." And well, by the end of the episode, things are going crazy. Everybody is like some sort of ploy to assassinate a bunch of these um, devil hunters, and Denji gets shot in the face. Himeno gets wounded badly, and Aki steps into action really fast. And this is a good. This show has never made the characters feel overpowered. Like earlier, we had where they're stuck in the hotel and stuff like that, and really didn't know how they're going to get out. Um, I like how that happened. Um, and so we get this moment now where these two new characters appear and are way above the ability level of our core group here. And just as you think maybe they're, maybe Aki has it, he's like using his sword, which we don't know everything about yet, but it's supposedly very dangerous to him. And then Himeno decides to give it her all and just gives herself to her devil that she's partnered with, um, to go all out. And even that is not enough, with the snap of her fingers. She's gone, and so is her devil. And it's really sad. We get to see the look between Aki and Himeno, at the end. Um, I don't know how this is going to resolve, how anyone's going to make it out alive. Um, I I'm worried that it's just going to be that power pulls Denji's cord and he's better, and that's where I don't want to see this. Like, you know, we need to see these people be a level above, our group, and set a real challenge. Besides the like ultimate, here's the gun devil. Like, where are these other people aligned, and set rivals that they're going to have to like level up for and pursue. And we have now Aki is really have a motivation. So I want to see how they believably leave with whilst the others are alive yet, and what chases them off. I'm hoping it's not Denji. um yeah, I just waiting on with bated breath for the next episode for sure. um we saw Makima get shot. I think the reveal there is going to be that she herself is some sort of devil or something aligned, kind of like a Denji. Something else is with her. um I don't know what, because I don't think she's going away yet. So, um, yeah, there's more I could talk about here. I don't want to ramble too much, but suffice it to say that Chainsaw Man has really been ramping up. I've really been liking um, the look of the show and the characters they've been building and their relationships. You know, some people criticize. They look at like this and say it's, similar to Jujutsu Kaisen or something. There's a kind of look and sort of group of teammates. People have talked about how they're all associated with a different color, whether it's like hair or outfit or something, and like all these roles have to be filled, and it's sort of a formula. But you manage to take parts of that formula and change it enough that it feels really unique and its own. And I don't have any of those things right now. Whereas, like when the story started, I could see a lot of parallels between this and Jujutsu Kaisen. It feels very different now. Um, so you don't have to like, what I'm saying is there's value to sticking with an understood formula to tell your own creative vision. And they can really stand out on their own that way just fine. You don't always have to recreate the wheel um, to make something, especially like this, that to me seems like it's going to really thrive off of character relationships, and that can be very satisfying to watch. So I'm happy with where this is going. I've put a Himeno wallpaper on my phone in honor of her because I love that character and I loved her relationship with Aki. So I'm very sad for the events of episode 8 here. All right. That's the show for today. Shorter when it's not too many news stories and it's just me yammering on here. Um, Normally, for those that are aware, normally it's myself and Andrea on a regular show, Popcast on the Rocks. You can still follow us on Twitter and Facebook and stuff under the Popcast on the Rocks banner. This episode, we normally just do these and they go straight to YouTube. So make sure you follow us there, subscribe, like, share, all that sort of thing. But yeah, we'll put this one in podcast form as well as a bonus. Andrea hasn't been feeling well this last week, and so we hope for her to feel a lot better soon. And we'll get back probably on the regular show talking about cyberpunk edge runners. So that's a thing that often I would maybe just talk about here, but because we have a guest we're going to have on that's been a fan of that. And but Andrea watched the show as well and wants to discuss it, so we're going to be talking about that on the main show, mainstream. So expect that on Monday. We'll be talking about that. And otherwise, until then, yeah, again, please like, share, subscribe, review, all those sorts of things. It would be much appreciated. Otherwise, we'll see you next time.